let's go ahead and introduce our players here in our best of 9 series. Spawning in the top left of Lightshade LE is our blue Terran player, playing for Good Game Gaming. This is Dream. And spawning in the bottom right, our red Protoss player for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is ZEST. And like every best of 9, there's always gotta be something funky happening out on the map. It's a good way to kick off this show match, really. You have to admit that when given the properties to be able to be weird and cheesy, Koreans take a lot of advantage. And I like that. I think it's good. I think we should give the Korean players more opportunities to be just that level of cheeky. Now, ZEST has got to be on patrol here. He's probably counting the number of workers, because in most cases, you're probably just going to expect, oh, my opponent's out on the map with 2 or 3 barracks, and I just need to be able to deflect what's going to be coming my way. But in reality, I mean, this is not too terribly spooky as it sits right now. I mean, ZEST isn't really overreacting to this. He's just going to keep that probe on patrol. And notice that there's 2 gas with only 2 workers on each one. And now we've got a Marine back at home. I mean, ZEST has got to be feeling really good. And, I mean, if you look at his build, it's exactly the case here. I mean, the Nexus hasn't been canceled. Nothing's really been delayed in any way, shape, or form. We've got the barracks that's going to be now floating out. Huh. Okay. So it's just going to be a proxy... Maybe a proxy Hellion drop. More than likely. The question is for ZEST, now what is exactly going to be coming at him? I mean, it seems like he's just trying to do a blanket prepare. He's grabbing those stalkers. The stalkers are going to be very instrumental here, but not even going to wait for the medevac to come in here. Dream is just immediately going to try and dive on in with those Hellions, and it is just a very blanket defense here from ZEST. Now, what I think is interesting is that Dream has kind of shown his hand on what unit composition he's wanting to go into initially, but instead he is now he's going to wait for that medevac. So the medevac will be coming on in. Oh, I kind of like this. We're gonna have an armory about the time that he's gonna want to retreat from this. So is that gonna end up being Hellbat? I can't imagine that's actually the case. 5 workers immediately going to go down off the head of this attack. They're going to zoom around a little bit. Ah, it's the mines on the backside. Love it. I love this dearly. Oh my gosh, that's 13 workers. It's 13 workers roasted. This mine should be able to get some decent damage, but not going to be quite the case. Only going to pick off 3 more workers. But that battle report looks pretty nice. Got to look at the trade of 4 Hellions and a worker for 16 probes. I mean, that's a trade that Dream will make time and time and time again. Meanwhile, on the backside of this, he's going to get his second command center up and running. That bunker is going to help anchor things into place, but I don't know if these stalkers are going to get too terribly aggressive right now. Especially since the constant harassment here of these mines continues to be a talking point for ZEST. He's limited his production. He's only down to probes right now. And Dream has kept ZEST pinned, but he hasn't kept him depleted. Those worker counts are very close to the same. Mules are going to be able to catch him up, but in the long term, not the short term. And there's just a lonely reactor out on the map now. So if you're Dream, how do you stop this incoming push? I don't think you can. I mean, we don't have Blink, which is a marked positive sign here for Dream, but I mean, the tank is only now just getting out into place. And I don't know that Dream is going to have a good option to be able to secure this natural. Although, ZEST was able to back off and away. Yeah, but Concussive Shell is not quite done. He actually kills the bunker. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Yeah, this is not going to end well. This is a best laid intentions moment. And Dream's going to see this push start coming on in. Is the moment those workers are rallied out. Dream had to know. He had to know. I mean, this base goes down, that's going to be a bad scenario. Although, those tanks are going to be in a much better position here. Going to be able to siege up on top of these stalkers. Yeah, the orbital's going to have to be pulled. The warp prism will be helpful to try and keep things alive, but Dream needs this base. He can't afford to lose it. Tank's going to be able to make it down to the low ground, and without Blink, ZEST is going to have a difficult time trying to break that. Does manage to grab the Observer as well, so ends up being a rather good hold so far for Dream. He's not going to bring the orbital command all the way back up to full health yet. That could prove to be a bit of a folly. And this is going to be a nice little harassment here. SUVs are going to get pulled off the line just a little bit. I think Dream's got to be careful, though. He's in a position where he can't afford to let ZEST kind of pincer him down. And that's exactly what ZEST wants to do. ZEST now the one that is going to try and maintain a little bit of momentum in this game. He drops down that third base location and gets himself in a better position. But this is going to be a nice bit of damage here. Going to grab 5 workers for sure. 6 workers, 7. This is a lot more damage than ZEST was expecting. 9 worker kills off of that Liberator. Wonderful. I mean, that equalizes the entirety of the game. Now I think Dream just needs to find a way to deal with this Warp Prism harass, and suddenly Dream puts themselves in a rather strong position. Of course, ZEST is going to have the advantage of that third base coming up, and it's going to take a little bit of time for that to start kicking in, especially since those worker counts are almost dead even. It's nice when you're able to advance the economy, but if you're on the same worker count as your opponent, it doesn't matter if you have 1 base or 12 bases. You're only going to be able to mine so much. Dream doing a really nice job of dealing with this Warp Prism harass. It's not allowing it to really phase him. But back behind this, ZEST just about wrapped up with his +1 ground weapons. Also leaning into some charge. This is going to be a bit of a push coming out across the map. I think ZEST wanted to make sure that got picked off should this game ever go into a based race scenario. Now, 1 first drop here is going to provide a lot of blanket cover. It's going to be 10 worker kills, and there are units left back at home to deal with the stalkers, so this a little wraparound is going to be very, very important here. Dream needs to find some good damage with this, but he is not. He is going to have to pick up and fly away. It does come for 10 workers, so it's a pretty even exchange. We're going to get out to his third base. Oh, gosh. I mean, these are a lot closer than I think they even realize, but nice little back and forth here that we have going game number 1. Have to admit that this is working out very, very well for our blue Terran player. Oh, going to be able to jump on top of the Warp Prism. Can he stim it down? I think he's going to try and blast it out of the sky. Oh, he's gonna be so close. Oh. Yeah, that's a weak warp prism regardless. The damage has been done. He's accomplished what he wanted to do. He wanted to try and take that warp prism out of the equation. So I think even just like dropping like a singular missile turret would just poof, just pop it off the map. Oh, yeah, that'll do it too. Yeah, he's gonna park that in the back corner. Not even gonna try and recall it. He knows. Rip. So now Dream's going to take a bit of a supply lead here for the first time in the game. Get up on a worker count. Zest actually playing with a very low amount of workers. Only crested here at 50 so far. Going to add on to his production, adding on more of those gateway. He's going to have Blink incoming as well. And a TVP picking up Blink at the 12-minute mark. A bit of a late timing for that, but Zest has been focused on a myriad of interesting harassment. Now going to come across with a pretty carte blanche ground army. I think this is going to be secured well enough. Now there isn't a whole lot stopping this push from just charging on into the natural. So all of the tanks are kind of positioned out front. Well, I guess and tank. Like he's going to finish up here, but this is going to be a really nice ramp hold for Dream. The high ground vision, very, very good. Those Archons are going to get a lot of damage done, but they are not going to be able to survive forever. And this is a pretty sizable amount of bio here, but it is thinning out really quick. But it's going to be enough. Dream will hold on here in game number 1. Spawning in the top left. Romanticide. It's our blue. Current player for good game gaming. This is Dream. Oh, this is just... Oh, Dream. Oh, Dream. You silly man. Spawning in the bottom right. Our red Protoss player for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Zest. Oh, Dream. Oh, Dream. This is going to be what you do today. Dream has decided I like money. And I require the rights to win. Now, this is one of those, like, hide in plain sight moments here for Zest. I think Zest is going to start investing a lot into... Well, he might not this game. Oh, he's just going to come down and accidentally see this. Is he not? It's, like, right here. I was going to say, there it is. But it's going to be enough for him to build a factory back at home, should he want it. Like, yeah, there it is. Oh, no. This is a who's trapped with who moment. Oh! Get him out of here. If Zest loses game number 2 here, I think this is going to be an awkward moment where he's going to start over-investing into these scouts because he doesn't want to just lose games for free. But, I mean, this is going to be kind of a testy moment here. Zest's not over-polling. He is going to try and micro this out because he doesn't want to lose out on all of his workers. But, I mean, this is going to get complicating here with a bunker just pinned right against the natural. I mean, more of these units are going to start popping out. The bunker is going to be available now to start dealing a little bit of that damage, but Zest should be able to defend this just fine. This should not be too scary of a situation. I mean, the probe's not going to see anything too terribly damning back at home. There is a natural moving up for Dream. So that is going to be a positive. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I was like, what's being attacked here? And neither one of these stalkers going down. It was the shield battery the whole time. Oh, that poor Marine. Reapers were like, Coach gave me a jetpack and I'm using it. The Marine's like, I got a gun. So this will eventually get cleaned up, and Dream's not going to find the same level of damage this time around. This is going to be a much better trade for ZEST in the end. So it is going to be Stargate opener for our Red Protoss player. He's going to be able to boil up into his build order just a little bit faster this time around. Second barracks already getting dropped down back at home, but my guess is that ZEST is not going to mess around to this game. Realistically, he's probably going to try and find that mid-game push a little bit faster here in game number 2. Stream's going to have a large moment here where he's just going to be fundamentally behind. I mean, he's behind on workers. It means he's going to fall behind on that army count. And as long as ZEST doesn't allow Dream to kind of claw his way back, should be okay. This is where Dream is going to try and pin ZEST in his corner. Going to try coming in here with these drops. Going to be as annoying as humanly possible. This Oracle could find a lot of damage, but we'll have to see if ZEST is going to mitigate this damage first. Okay, mine down. Oh, this one's not getting reacted to. Oh, you know what? That could have been a lot worse for ZEST. So 6 workers goes down. Oh, gonna tickle that tank for a moment. But there's nothing here. Are there any Marines? No, there are not. So these workers are just kind of high and dry. Oh, they're there. Is that even enough Marines? It's not. This is pretty brutal. Finally, now that Oracle's going to run out of energy, it's going to have to zip away. But 6 workers for 6 workers, I guess, and a handful of units. It's pretty good. Yeah, here's going to be that a little bit stronger timing. We're going to get that blink. Good dodge on the mine, really limiting the amount of damage that's happening there. So with those mines killed, Dream's not going to be able to really harass anymore. And I think this is the push that ZEST wanted game number 1, but Dream had just a little bit extra on his defense. He did just take down a bunker, which is going to be a giant feels bad man here in about 1 minute. As he realizes that, whoops, I forgot to kill my opponent. Blink is already done. There's extra production on the way here. That forge is going to be on site. This is going to be a rough moment here for our blue Terran player. Although tank being able to siege up on the high ground is going to be a strong position to hold. So in large reality here, I think Dream should be okay. But a third base already down. He can harass, not infinitely. Losing the Oracle will be a thorn in his side. Not going to be able to harass infinitely, but you can get a lot of work done. Dream's going to pull out with a medevac here to try and find more of that damage. There's more gateway on the way. That's going to bring him up to 10 gate. That's actually a lot. It's a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to activate all of that production or not. So Dream finding that push timing. I think ZEST missed his window. You gotta give Dream props here. He has a really good defense back at home. Now ZEST is going to be in an okay situation where he has charge lots on the way. This is going to be a bit annoying to try and deal with. It's going to pull the army roughly out of position. But ZEST, I think, is, trying to be careful. He knows that the main army's coming across the map. He's going to try and tap down a medevac. He absolutely will. There's no war, but he lost 6 of those gateway to depower. That's not the way you want to do it. And especially against an opponent who's going to be knocking on your front door. He's got 4 tanks. He's got a handful of bio. He's a sizable force here. Now, the 4th base is already on the way. It feels a little greedy for ZEST. I mean, 3rd base isn't even done yet. It just got canceled. Oh, Dream's just going to all in. He knows that ZEST is trying to prepare for the future and might be a little over-invested into... Might be a bit over-invested in trying to get ahead. This is not a good day 9 moment. This is not a good when you're ahead, get further ahead. Sometimes you just got to kill your opponent, and this is going to be a pretty powerful ramp. Those SCVs are going to be used to soak up a lot of damage. Will they be able to push back these charge lots in time? I don't think so. I think it's going to be really, really close. Here comes the reinforcing zealots. I think this is going to be able to get cleaned up. It's going to be rather close supply-wise, but worker count is unmatched, 48 to 24. It's a little hit squad once again, making things a bit more complicated. Zealots are, in fact, really, really good. But Dream finds a way to tap it in. 43 army supply there at the end. Spawning in the top right, up 2-0 in this best of 9 series. It's our blue Terran player. Our good gaming gamers. This is Dream. And spawning in the bottom left. Waiting to see what his opponent's going to proxy at him this time around. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, this is ZEST. Oh, should I be using the appropriate terms here, chat? Are they Zest-a-lots? I mean, I never want to be on the wrong side of history. Got to use all the appropriate vocabulary. Zest is going to open this up incredibly calmly, much like he did in games number 1 and 2. But I have an idea for you to soak on. Insanity is defined as doing something the same way and expecting a different result. Are we just watching the same outcome unfold for Zest because he's not reacting to this? I mean, Zest this time around is gonna have to look a little bit harder for that barracks, but oh, that's actually gonna get rather low. Give me a lot to finish. Reaper's gonna be here as well. I mean, we're loading up the exact same game here in game number 3. It's a bit more problematic this time around as the shield battery is going to have to be up on the high ground, and that's going to limit the amount of range that this defense has down in the natural. Now, being able to kill a pylon, that would be useful. Would be enough to really deal with it. Okay, I mean, it's a pretty nice bit of damage here. Barracks is already on its way back home, though. Oh, yeah, he really reached with that Reaper. Oh no, poor SCV. Again, got a jetpack. Coach, get me out of here. I had a drill. He had even less than the Marine last game. Ooh, okay, so it was a Twilight Council that was going down, but instead going to yield for the robotics facility. What an interesting turn of events. Okay, this is going to be a bit more aggressive for Zest, and I think Zest is going to... I think he's going to have to start turning this on. He needs to start figuring out what is going to be the appropriate response to this particular type of aggression, because Dream is going to run the exact same build until it stops working, and then he's going to start pivoting. Stalker's just a little bit late on the arrival, but this is it's a pretty good timing here. There really isn't anything to deal with these Stalkers back at home. course, there are some mines and a couple of units here that are going to get some harassment done on the opposite side of the map for ZEST, but this is a rough situation. The mine gets picked off immediately before it even gets allowed to sit down in the line. So these stalkers are going to find a lot of damage here if left to their own devices. Large amount of the damage was mitigated here by ZEST. Oh, getting that Liberator up is probably a bit of a disappointment here for ZEST, although if he beats down this supply depot, he could just zip his way through. Killing this factory would be devastating. That would be like a non-negotiable for Dream. Okay. Should be fine. Yeah, a little bit on the rebound here. Okay, Warp Prism going to come out, which is going to signal that ZEST should be looking for more extended damage here. Is he going to be able to tap down that Liberator? He absolutely will. The Bio will do a nice job of trying to hold, but ZEST has found the aggression. The beast is awakened. And game number 3 goes to our Protoss player. So if we're playing a more standard game, well, okay, so there's going to be a little bit of mind games here at the beginning. ZEST is going to overscout and make sure that Dream is not doing the exact same thing in game number 4. But in a straight up macro v macro, who's going to come out ahead? Statistically, it should be Dream. Or excuse me, it should be ZEST. I don't think Dream has bad macro by any stretch. But I think if you look at like head-to-head, and you look at overall map scores, percentages, really crunch the numbers. I think ZEST is going to find himself in a much stronger advantage over his opponent. So one would have to wonder, I think Dream is aware of that, has the potential to be able to lock in something specific to maybe counteract that balance that ZEST is going to have in his favor, even just a little bit. A little bit of stutter step micro. Adept, really good unit. The additional Marine will help anchor this position down. That command center's not going to be too crazy. Yeah, here is the solid example. Dream is just going to proxy, but in a different way, at a different time. Very exciting here. So, more than likely proxy starport. It's going to pop out a Liberator. Much like the Americans trying to liberate all of the oil of the universe. So too will Dream try to liberate these minerals and gas from the hard-working probe. But we'll have to see how that shakes so far. This is a pretty nice amount of Hellion micro, but I think Dream needs to be careful here. ZEST has found success in game number 3, being able to draw back the overall, I mean, the status of the game, essentially. He was able to win with this type of harassment. Oh, you know what? A Viking's really good, too. That makes perfect sense. Vikings are going to deal extra bonus damage to probes. I respect that a lot. I think that's actually a really good call. Yeah, and now this is kind of a scary moment here. Warp gates are only now going to be able to get into position, but this Viking should be able to get up and away if it wants to. It's going to try and kill as many workers as it possibly can. 5 kills? I mean, that's a fair exchange. I think that still leans fully in ZEST's favor in terms of a sheer amount of value, but that is a pretty nice exchange, all things considered. If these could find even more damage, that would be better, but Doctor's going to be in place. Not going to be able to get that just yet. The third base is going to get spotted out. Will get tapped down before it gets placed on site. But keep in mind, back at home, Dream has not really expanded. Dream has additional workers that he can transfer down to that natural, but this feels rather aggressive. And there isn't even any SCVs in the production tab either, so it's more and more unit production. I think this second base is just going to not get populated. That being said, this is the kind of the double-edged sword here. Dream has unlocked Zest's aggression because he's done it the first 2 games. So now Zest is going to want to stay aggressive. Oh, sniping down to that medevac is a bit brutal. There's a lot of stalkers too. Even with a couple of tanks, this is a lot to try and deal with, especially since Zest is going to be able to blink forward. He taps down the first tank. Going to be additional warpins back behind this. There's nothing here for Dream. Dream's going to have to tap out, and Zest has cleaned up and evened up the series 2-2. Pretty standard start for both players. Now, we saw Dream do a little bit of this in game number 4, so previous game. Making it look normal and then do something funky back behind it. And that seems to be exactly the case here. Now, Dream is a bit supply blocked. It's a bit awkward, but gonna really bring on the heat here. Yeah, I think Zest is gonna start running this particular type of aggression just into the ground, getting that Blink Stalker upgrade really early. It's standard TVP affair, or PVT in this case. So Dream's gonna have to find a way to respond, and ideally that response is going to be, I'm just going to have a ton of Marine Marauder. And if I can get Stim Pack as fast as possible, I'll just gun you down. That seems to be what is going to be happening here. Immediately, we have Stim Pack on the way. It's going to be additional Marine production. I wouldn't even be surprised to see it just be Marines. Although against Stalkers, having even just a couple of Marauders in there would be nice. There we finally see the Marauder production beginning. I'm glad for that. The robotics facility is going to be coming in here. Yeah, this is it's going to be that really aggressive Blink Stalker timing. But I think Dream's going to be a bit more prepared for it. He's decided he doesn't need to play long-form macro games. He doesn't need to plan for the future. It's all about the here and now. Oh, but that is almost a mistake. What did he actually get to see? He didn't get to see anything consequential. He probably saw a fair amount of Marines, but that's got to generate some production back at home. What kind of production cycles does he have? He's only got 2 warp gates, so even though he's gotten a very valuable scout here on these bio units, there's not a whole lot he can do with it. I mean, he's only got so many gateways. So now it's a matter of using that micro to its absolute fullest potential. Drifting those Marauders to the front is going to be very valuable. Now that we have Blink done as well, this gets a bit easier, but Stim Pack has now been completed. If you're Dream, where do you engage? Zest right now is just buying time. That is the only thing that Zest is doing. Zest is caught out. If this bio ball stems forward and gets a good engagement, it's all over. Oh, but Dream's gonna just walk away from both. Now he's no longer having his cake and eating it too. He has thrown his cake on the floor, and Mom came and scooped it into the garbage. He gets nothing. He walks home, sad. All these units are stimmed for no reason. So will the follow-up aggression be enough here? I mean, it's enough time to get concussive shells onto the ground. So these Marauders are going to be more useful. But the third base, non-existent. He's got a decent worker count, but Zest has already got his third base out. He's on site. He's going to be able to make this work, and this is not going to be a situation Dream wants. Again, I'm feeling hopeful. Less hope. Or dream. I mean, this is a fair Bioforce. Don't get me wrong. But that third base going down right now is a bit of a scary position. It's 53 to 32. He has a sizable force. We do have one shield battery. Shield battery's in a pretty strong position as well. No tanks will make this a difficult position to anchor if ZEST wants to really crank the micro into overdrive. Some good harassment off the front will be good. If he can buy himself a little bit of time, he's going to have 5 more gateway to be able to warp in some units to soak up some damage. I mean, some zealots would go a long way in holding this position. Additional units getting boosted in from across the map. All right, warp gates are powering up here. We should see some additional warp-ins coming in very, very shortly. Now, charge is not going to be available for this engagement, provided it actually engages and doesn't just sit back and wait. A few more buildings. Templar Archive is going to be coming in as well. Is there enough to boost this up? I don't think so. Oh, but he is going to be able to tap down the Cyber Core. That's a scary position right there. A couple of mines will help out here. Good force field to slice the army in half. Evens up the supply, but now it is going to be Zealot warp-ins for now. I think it's a haha, joke's on you. I was only going to warp in Zealots anyways, and I have Templar Archives, so I will just make some High Templar as well. So of all the buildings that could get gunned down, I think the Cyber Core was probably an okay one for the time being, but he really should get that reproduced. But yeah, there's 7 of those Zealots coming in. Cyber Core no longer needed. It has been deleted from the game, and that's just fine by ZEST. That Doom drop is doomed for right now. And really, this low ground's not that great of a position to kind of wedge yourself into, especially not when your opponent's going to be coming forward with a pretty sizable army on one side of it. Decent force fields, but that was a great Widow Mine shot that coated a good chunk of the army. Having this rock wall knocked down is a problem for ZEST because that will open up some surround potential for Dream. And this is not going very, very well for our red Protoss player. Already having to pop the shield battery overcharge. This is not a good situation here for ZEST. ZEST is going to lose a lot of these units. These Bioforces are going to be able to position themselves in a very nice spot. They can retreat as easily as they can off to the northwest. Going to be additional Zealot warp-ins on the right-hand side here, which will aid in the defense, but they are going to have to work their way up, and Dream is perfectly happy holding this choke for right now. And again, clearing out that rock wall allows him to be able to exit in a couple of different ways, and he manages to rotate as easily as he possibly can. He'd much rather fight in this good choke. This is a much better situation. Those Zealots are not going to be able to get a very decent amount of positioning. However, that rock wall will be, again, once used, and those storms will find some decent damage here. Is ZEST going to be able to hold on, though? I think the Concave's going to be a bit too strong, and these units will be able to get a lot of good damage done. It's a lot of orange and yellow, but Dream has gotten the engagement he's looking for. Game number 5 goes back into our blue Terran players' favor. Well played. So something that is working out really, really well for both of our players is we're seeing a lot of adaptation of builds. The first couple of proxy cheeses worked out really well for Dream, but ZEST is able to adapt and overcome, channeling his inner Zerg, his inner Abathur. Then ZEST was able to find a really good mid-game timing to really punish Dream for his aggressive opening. So now Dream finding a good way to mitigate that damage, being a bit more aggressive to anchor down a defense, but then finding a good timing. So in game number 6, who is going to be the player to continue adapting? Seems like ZEST's going to wind up the same type of build he brewed up in game number 5 and game number 4. Found a little less success with it in game number 5. but mostly because Dream just came very well equipped for the defense. It looks like Dream wants to run back into his standard affair of medevac drop into the main base, which should be fine. But I don't think it's going to pay enough respect for the Blink Stalker timing that is kind of rocketing out here for ZEST. Robotics facility being built along at the front side of the base. We're going to have a Raven this time around. Nice. I like that. A little bit of a... Again, we're adapting. A little bit of a mixture here in this army composition. It's a very quick third Nexus as well. It failed to recognize that. The mine not going to find as much damage here. Dream going to try and find some extra damage. He's going to lose the medevac as well. This ended up being a terrible exchange. Only for 3 probes, and he loses the medevac and all of his units. Blech. It's a good scout as well by the hallucinated Phoenix. Going to see the bios. We'll see the Raven and the tank, so the tech lab going to be a bit behind. ZEST is obviously going to have an opportunity to find a bit of aggression. Is there a warp prism? No. So it's just 7 stalkers. Granted, they have blink, but this is a pretty well-walled position. I don't think that this... I don't think this push is going to go anywhere for ZEST. At least not from this spot. Twilight Cancel is going to come out with charge. I do like this, though. The Stalkers going out to the top and the right-hand positions of Dream's main base to see if he can catch any possible medevac that's going to go zipping on out into the game. That's once again in a good position. He's got his Templar Archives already down. His production cycle is really kicking in as well. 8 Gateway in production, and he has Psystorm researching as well. But because Dream opted into the Raven, he's not going to have the drop potential going out just yet. So Raven's just going to see if it can get out to do a little bit of harassment, but not going to find anything just yet. Dream, though, 55 army supply. If ZEST can find a way to hold this back and pin back this army, he should be able to get to the production cycles he needs to be successful. He's got 4 more on the way. He already has 6 gateway down, so he's going to have 10 gate production. He just needs time. And resources. It's time and resources that he is slowly running out of. Especially when there are immortals on that tab as well. And there are High Templar, though. Did Dream check his weather forecast? Seems like he did. Not going to just ram his way in just yet. This tank's going to try and get a decent position here, and they have found a nice spot back far enough that they can siege into the little choke here. Oh, I was going to say, where was the Zealot warp in? But this is going to be a devastating warp in. Dream will have a decent position here. Oh, he's just going to pick up and go. Did he scout that? No. How's he know? He had to know, or he had to wonder where the remaining units of ZEST were. That's the only thing that I can think of. Because that was a very tactical retreat. But I mean, it's good timing here. ZEST has superseded the production of Dream. Now all of these units are going to be able to come on in here. Good charges, good storms are going to be ready to go. This bio is actually in a bad spot right now, losing access to the high ground, but a giant anti-armor missile coats most of this army. Suddenly ZEST is in a little bit of a rough position, but those tanks are going to be super out of their normal spot here. If these zealots can get warped in, this should be able to anchor down the position that ZEST has secured. Yeah, there's just no good way for this bio to really get in here. Suddenly, the Blink Stalkers are going to do way too much damage. All of these High Templar with storms will continue to pin this Bioforce back and away. It's devastating damage. ZEST showing that Protoss, good unit. GG is called. ZEST, great engagement here. Pincers Dream into his third base location, manages to even up the series once again, 3-3. So we do have a Stargate opener here for ZEST. It's gonna be a proxy starport. Oh, this is just gonna be unfortunate. ZEST's gonna come out with an Oracle, and the Oracle is gonna be a wonderful timing for ZEST to accidentally scout this proxy starport. I think that might actually just be a shutdown for Dream. Because he's gonna invest a lot into trying to get that up and running. Yeah, ZEST is just gonna, yeah, he's just gonna spot it right as it finishes too. So not only is ZEST gonna lay down some good damage here with the Oracle. Oh, it's a better situation for the Marines. Not quite enough DPS just yet, but oh, this is good. It's going a little bit sideways. Great wall off here. The 3 gateway going down. That's gonna force engagements here over to the opposite side. Oracle is just going to menacingly hover over top of this mineral line. However, Dream's making the most of this situation here. He does still have a slight army advantage. These Hellions are going to still get some economic damage done. Not nearly as much as they were hoping, but he is still going to make the most of the situation here. 3 workers have gone down so far. And the Medevac going to try and get some extended damage as much as it possibly can. Probes get pulled off of the line. Still not finding lethal damage just yet. 5 workers. It's not a terrible amount. There's nothing that shoots up yet. It's just increased Oracle production. No, some mines are going to come out. 3 oracles going to move out onto the map. What do we have coming across the map here for Dream? There is a command center that is going down, so a 3rd base going to be built. But is there anything really to deal with these oracles? There aren't that many Marines. Oh! Must have been a mine? Had to have been. Because it just kind of exploded. Yeah, I think it was a mine. Third Nexus on the way. There's a Cyclone in production, which I think will be a good choice, especially against all of the flying units right now of ZEST coming out. Those lock-ons will be incredibly useful. Biggest difference here is that there is no Twilight Council, so the Stalkers and Adepts are going to be upgradeless. But ZEST is going to have a sizable army advantage. There's a mine, and ZEST even killed it after exploding. Blind Caster. Wow. It's brutal. something to look at. Something we can all see. It's laser beams and ethereal damage here. 19 workers, 20 workers down. The oracles are out of energy. With 21 worker kills. Rough. GG. ZEST. Currently sitting on match point here in this best of 9 series. We're going into game number 8. What are we looking at here? ZEST. ZEST is going to be the one that gets a little interesting here. He's going to put a pylon out on the far front. Dream is expecting the aggression here. He's coming out with the Marine. Not going into a Reaper right away. Where can you find a record of this cast? I'm not exactly sure how to answer that question. Of course, I'm casting it live right now on trovo.live/alphaxsc2. If you are talking about replays, usually we offer replays through Match Reno, but I don't think there's a Match Reno for this event. So that might be a question for another person. Now, Dream has seen the Stargate that's going to be super far forward. And Dream is going into the large amount of bio that helped him secure positioning in the previous games. So I think this ends up being really, really good for Dream. ZEST isn't going to get a lot of momentum from this Stargate. An additional gateway and a Twilight Council is going to come down. I think that's really smart. ZEST not going to find any damage with us. None. He just takes a whole bunch of damage and then he leaves. Good guy ZEST. Letting Dream stay in this series. But my guess is the moment this Twilight Council is going to go down, we're probably going to see Blink in very quick tow. And there it goes. From one set of aggression to another. If it's just Marine Marauders, ZEST has already dealt with this before, and this is not going to be a terrible position for him to try and play from. But he's not in the position that he necessarily wanted to be in. The Stargate's going to be super far out and is not going to be very viable in the defense of whatever push is going to be coming his way. I think he's already dealt with that disappointment. So these units I kind of thought might get tagged, but I think ZEST is going to save the energy for laser beams. Is there enough bio here though? Oh, I mean, if there's good force fields. This is more than enough bio. Sliced right down the center. ZEST gets the engagement of the century. Now they will come up here and tap this down. Ancient technology that will be found eons from now. Is there a third base on the way here for Dream? No, it is just additional production. And on this map, a map of this size, it would be very, very quick to rotate his units out and around. So Dream is hard investing into the push here. He's sacrificing his worker count. He has a small amount of SCVs in the production tab right now, but it is just additional bio production. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Oracle just revelate this army and be done with it, but Dream's got a push timing here that he wants to get into. I think Zest is going to be in a great position, though. 4 more of these gateway are finishing up. That's going to be 8 gate warp-in technology. Charge is not is not completely done just yet. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Zest has the positioning that he wants. He's going to be able to hold off his opponent here. These are really tight chokes to try and play into. And even for Dream, these are not going to be as tight as he'd like them because force fields are going to be really strong. The positioning is still going to be very, very strong as well. +1 is about to finish up. There are zealots on the warp-in cycle. Charge is about 30 seconds away from completing. Unless Dream can get the engagement of a lifetime. I think it's starting to look very scary for our blue Protoss player. Now the 4th base, admittedly, is a bit out of position. Charge just about to finish up. A great set of force fields is going to divide this army in half, but a lot of this army does actually get pinched on the front side, so that's going to be a lot of damage done onto these sentries. The sentries are still taking a decent amount of damage. Charge is now complete. More of these force fields trying to keep this army back at bay, but where are all of the zealots? The zealots are out across the map trying to find damage in the 3rd base location of Dream. That is going to be a burning command center, so a rough situation here. He's going to lose 10 workers. He's going to lose a lot of the aggression out across the map. Those mines are going to soften up the zealots, but can this command center stay alive? I think it will. It is going to get repaired here. Does Zest have enough to push back? He doesn't. 62. Oh, that. Hold the phone here. A giant warp-in cycle evens out the army supplies. And now suddenly we have 2 rather scary looking armies here. Oh, Dream took the bait. Zest gonna be able to come in here, and it's gonna take him some time to really get back. A giant blink forward onto all of these workers. That's gonna be devastating damage. He'll have enough army to clean this up theoretically, but at what cost, Tasteless? So many of these workers have gone down. The production is being aggressed upon a little bit, losing some of these valuable mines. Zest, 24 worker kills. He loses the 3rd base on the additional warp-ins. Dream is falling apart here. He has the army count he needs, but he does not have the economy. So suddenly this is an all-in scenario for our blue Terran player. He's got the bio that he's going to have for this game, and Zest is continuing to warp in. In fact, he's just going to rotate around. He's not even going to worry about it. The workers have been pulled. I think Zest needs to respect that, but you know what? Zest is going to have a recall. He's going to be able to recall all of those stalkers back home, but instead he just decides, I think I'll just kill you. And it is going to be a bit of a base race. This is a scary army. I don't know. I think Zest is overestimating this here. Where are the stalkers? Okay, there are the stalkers right there. Is that the final? Okay, so that was the final orbital command. So there's no more command centers out. Oh, this is dicey here. Yeah, Dream's not going to be able to rebuild. Nah, I think Zest will be fine. Zest should be able to anchor this down. Plenty of units here for Zest. And I think Dream is going to bury himself far enough into the main that these units are going to be able to engage. And honestly, Dream is just building a better situation here for Zest as he is going to go further and further back. He's cleared up plenty of these units and buildings. Great engagements. This is all over for our blue Terran player. What does he have? He's got 1 worker. 400. Dream's not happy. I have no idea what's being said, but Dream is not happy about it. I mean, this game's over. Does Dream think it's not over? Dream thinks it's not over. Yeah, there it goes. The winner, the Alpha X Series number 44, is our Red Protoss player, ZEST.